The air crackled with anticipation. It was a night everyone had been looking forward to for weeks. The living room was dimly lit, the flickering light from the TV casting shadows on the walls, creating an atmosphere thick with excitement and camaraderie. The Kansas City Chiefs were playing. The game was intense. Every play scrutinized, every touchdown celebrated with fervor. The room was alive with the energy of the game, the tension palpable as the clock ticked down. Friends gathered at Jordan Willis's home, their laughter echoing the cheers of the game. The living room was a sea of red and gold, everyone donning their favorite team's jerseys, their faces painted with team colors. Clayton McGeeney, Ricky Johnson, and David Harrington were there. They were the core of the group, the ones who never missed a game, their friendship forged in the fires of countless game days. Loyal fans, they lived for Sundays like this. The thrill of the game, the shared moments of victory and defeat, it was what they looked forward to all week. Beers flowed, jokes flew, the camaraderie was intoxicating, the coffee table was laden with snacks, the clinking of beer bottles punctuating the air as they toasted to their team's success. But this night of revelry would soon descend into a nightmare. The atmosphere shifted, the once lively room now cloaked in an eerie silence, the shadows seeming to grow longer and darker. As the game ended, a sense of contentment settled over the group. They were tired but happy, the adrenaline of the game giving way to a warm, satisfied glow. Some guests started to leave, bidding farewell with promises to reconnect soon. Hugs were exchanged, and plans for the next game day were already being made. But Clayton, Ricky, and David lingered. They were the last to leave, as always, their conversations stretching into the late hours of the night. They were regulars at Jordan's place. This living room was like a second home to them, a place where they could unwind and be themselves. Their bond went beyond football. Hours melted away. The night deepened. They talked about everything and nothing, their friendship a comforting constant in their lives. What transpired behind closed doors remains a haunting mystery. The once vibrant room now stood empty, the remnants of the night scattered like ghosts of the past. 2 days later, a blanket of snow shrouded Kansas City. The silence of the morning was shattered by a blood-curdling scream. It was Clayton McGeeney's fiancée, arriving at Jordan's house to find her worst nightmare. 3 lifeless bodies lay sprawled in the backyard, frozen, unnatural. The biting wind seemed to whisper their names, Clayton, Ricky, and David. Their faces were etched with a chilling stillness. The snow around them was undisturbed, as if they had fallen from the sky. First responders arrived to a scene of unimaginable horror. The temperature was brutally frigid, well below freezing. How long had they been out there? The autopsies painted a grim picture. Fentanyl, cocaine, marijuana. A deadly cocktail coursed through their veins. But the cause of death remained elusive. The medical examiner's report was inconclusive. Had they overdosed? Were they drugged unknowingly? The lack of answers fueled a firestorm of speculation. The substances pointed to a night of reckless abandon. But something didn't add up. These men were known for their love of life, their responsible nature. Would they have willingly ingested such a dangerous combination? The mystery deepened, casting a long shadow over the investigation. The investigation was a tangled web of dead ends and unanswered questions. Each clue seemed to lead to another mystery, another layer of complexity that the detectives had to unravel. Detectives meticulously combed through the scene, their eyes scanning every inch for something that could break the case wide open. They knew that even the smallest detail could be the key to solving the puzzle. Every beer bottle, every cigarette butt, a potential clue. Each item was carefully cataloged and sent to the lab for analysis, in the hope that it might reveal something crucial. But the answers remained frustratingly out of reach. The more they searched, the more elusive the truth seemed to become, leaving the team feeling increasingly disheartened. Jordan Willis, the homeowner, became a person of interest. His behavior and statements raised more questions than answers, making him a focal point of the investigation. He claimed to have no knowledge of what transpired that night. His alibi was shaky, and his demeanor during questioning only added to the detective's suspicions. He said he had gone to bed, leaving his friends to their own devices. This statement, however, did little to clear his name, as inconsistencies began to emerge. But the police were not convinced. They believed there was more to the story, and their skepticism grew with each passing day. The investigation dragged on, marked by cryptic press conferences and hushed whispers. The media was relentless, demanding answers that the authorities were not ready to provide. The authorities were tight-lipped, refusing to divulge key details. This only fueled speculation and rumors, making the situation even more tense. The families of the victims grew increasingly frustrated, their grief compounded by the lack of answers. They held vigils and memorials, hoping for closure that seemed ever out of reach. The tragedy sent shockwaves through Kansas City. How could this happen in their own backyard? These weren't strangers. They were friends, neighbors, sons. The close-knit community grappled with fear and uncertainty. Rumors spread like wildfire. Had it been a drug deal gone wrong? Was there a sinister motive? Theories abounded, each more outlandish than the last. The case became a morbid obsession. People followed every twist and turn, desperate for answers. The victims became more than just names in the news. They became symbols of a city gripped by fear. Section 6. The homeowner, friend, or foe. Jordan Willis found himself at the center of the storm. Once a respected member of the community, he was now viewed with suspicion. His every move was scrutinized, his every word dissected. He maintained his innocence, claiming to be as much a victim as his friends, but the doubts lingered. Why were the bodies found in his backyard? What did he know? His lawyer vehemently denied any wrongdoing, portraying Willis as a grieving friend seeking justice. But the court of public opinion was less forgiving. The shadow of suspicion loomed large, threatening to consume him. Section 7. Families in limbo, aching for answers. For the families of Clayton, Ricky, and David, life had become an unbearable waiting game. Their grief was compounded by the agonizing lack of closure. They were haunted by unanswered questions. What really happened that night? Why were their loved ones taken from them so soon? They pleaded for answers, their voices raw with anguish. They deserved to know the truth, no matter how painful. But the truth remained elusive, locked away in a labyrinth of forensic reports and police investigations. Section 8. Unanswered questions. The mystery lingers. As months turned into years, the case grew colder. The initial frenzy died down, replaced by a dull ache of unanswered questions. Why were the bodies found outside in freezing temperatures? Did they willingly consume the drugs, or were they unknowingly given a lethal dose? What role, if any, did Jordan Willis play in the events leading up to their deaths? These questions lingered, their answers buried somewhere in the labyrinth of the investigation. The lack of closure was a wound that refused to heal, a constant reminder of the tragedy that had befallen 3 young men and their families. Section 9. Justice delayed. A city holds its breath. The chilling mystery of the 3 Kansas City Chiefs fans continues to haunt the city. Their disappearance has left an indelible mark on the community, a wound that refuses to heal. Each day, the residents of Kansas City wake up with the hope that today might bring answers, but the silence is deafening. The lack of answers only deepens the wound. Friends and family members gather, sharing stories and memories, trying to keep the spirits of their loved ones alive. The photographs they hold are not just images, they are fragments of lives interrupted, dreams unfulfilled. The families of the victims, still grappling with their loss, cling to the hope that justice will prevail. Vigils are held, candles are lit, and prayers are whispered into the night. The community comes together, united in their grief and their quest for answers. But as time marches on, the path to justice seems to grow dimmer. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and still, the mystery remains unsolved. The ticking clock is a constant reminder of the urgency, yet the investigation seems to be at a standstill. The case serves as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of drug use and the importance of accountability. The dark underbelly of the city, with its shadows and secrets, is a breeding ground for such tragedies. The community is left to ponder the what-ifs and the could-have-beens. Until the truth is revealed, the shadow of this tragedy will continue to loom over Kansas City, casting a pall over its streets and its people. The city, once vibrant and full of life, now feels like a place suspended in time, waiting for closure. A chilling testament to a mystery that may never be fully solved. The fog that rolls over the quiet city block is a metaphor for the uncertainty that envelops the case. Kansas City holds its breath, hoping that one day, the truth will emerge from the shadows.